Okay, now that we have Burp Suite installed, let's actually get this set up and intercepting some of our Android phone's traffic. So here I am in Burp Suite on the left and my emulator on the right. I'm going to go to the proxy tab here in Burp Suite and now go to options. And what we need to do here is actually add a brand new proxy listener for our Android device. So I'm going to click add. And then I'm going to set this to port 8082. Now you can really choose any port that you want. Personally, I usually go for 8081 or 8082 depending on the situation, just so it's still similar to what Burp's default port is, which is 8080. Now I'm going to click all interfaces, and this is very important so that our Android phone will be able to go out there and call out to this port. I'm going to click OK. Burp Suite will give us an error here saying, are you sure you want to listen on all interfaces? We'll say yes to that. Now that we have this set up, we can actually go into our emulator and set up Burp Suite as our proxy. If we're using an emulator, it's very easy because we can just click the triple dot here. You'll be brought to this like location screen on your first do of this. I'm going to click settings here, and then we can uncheck this use Android Studio HTTP proxy settings. Click manual proxy configuration. I already have everything filled in here, but we're going to fill it in again with 127.0.0.1, and the port again is 8082 because that's what we set up here in Burp Suite. I'm going to click apply here, and if you get this success message, you should be in pretty good shape. Let's actually go to a web browser on our Android phone now and see if this works successfully. So I'm going to go to google.com. And here we can see that we're getting a security certificate error. I'm going to click view certificate here, and you can see that the organizational unit is Port Swigger CA. So this is the actual CA certificate of our proxy here, and our phone does not trust this because we actually have to go ahead and trust this certificate and import it into the phone. So I'm going to click OK here and just close out of my web browser. Next, what I need to do is go back to Burp Suite and click this Import Export CA certificate. We're going to click certificate in DER format. There's a bunch of different formats here, but the DER one is the one that I did. And now keep in mind that here we're not going to even export this as a .der. We're going to add an extra file extension at the end to make this compatible with our Android phone. So I'm going to click next here. Now we're going to click select file to name this however I want. And in my case, I'm going to actually replace one that I had previously. And we're going to name this file burp_tcm academy. And then you have to do a new file extension at the end, which is a .cer. Make sure that you add this .cer file extension because this is extremely important for getting this to run successfully. I'm going to click save here and then click next to confirm my changes. And now my certificate is stored locally on my machine. So I'm going to have to open a file explorer here and go to my documents, which is where this was saved. And here you can see the burp_tcm academy certificate. I can actually simply just take this and drop it into my Android phone. And now we're going to go to the settings so that we can actually import this certificate into the phone so that it trusts Burp as a CA certificate. We're going to go to settings here, and then depending on the version of the Android operating system, it's usually under security here or something like accounts and security. And you scroll down a bit more and you should have this trusted credentials store right here. We're going to click install from SD card. And you can see here that I have two here because I've actually was playing with this earlier, but the one that we just downloaded onto the phone is the burp_tcm academy.cer. So I'm going to click that, and now it's going to ask you for a certificate name. And I'll just name this burp_tcm. And here there's also the credential usage. I always just leave this defaulted to VPN and apps. It seems to work pretty fine. Not sure exactly what Wi-Fi does in every situation, so I usually go with the VPN and apps there. I'm going to click OK, and now it's going to ask me for a PIN. I previously set up my PIN, but when you do this for the very first time, it's going to ask you to set up a PIN or a password. For our case, I just picked something really easy like 1234, and then once you set up that PIN, you should see the burp_tcm is installed. Click my home button here again. I'm going to go back to Burp Suite here, make sure my Intercept is actually turned on. We're going to open the web browser now, and we should be able to intercept our traffic successfully. I'm going to go back to google.com. You can see that I intercepted some traffic here. Oops. Google.com. And you can see that we're getting clear text traffic to google.com. And we're also getting some encrypted traffic as well. We have https://www.google.com. So I'm going to keep on forwarding this traffic. And I'm just going to do a search here for blah just to make sure that everything is working properly. Burp Suite keeps on coming up, but we're seeing the traffic successfully for sure. You can see that here we have like our information, our cookies, and it's also intercepting the HTTPS traffic. Now, like I was talking about with the dynamic analysis section of this course, even getting here to where we're intercepting this encrypted traffic via Burp Suite, it might not be enough for our given scenario. So a flag in injured Android that we're interested in here is actually this SSL pinning bypass flag. Okay, so I'm going to go here, I'm going to enter the flag and just press submit. And it's just going to keep on saying try again. If we turn on our Burp Suite here, we see some messages coming by. Oh, and we can actually see it. So it's not really doing SSL pinning here because this is the flag, epic_awesomeness. And this is actually our flag because that's the data that's being sent here. So I'm going to paste that. So we were able to successfully get this flag. I'm going to click submit. And we can see that congratulations, you found the flag. So we were actually able to intercept that application traffic using Burp Suite. But in other situations with other applications, at this point, the application might actually crash. So for example, if I went here, I put something random in this box, and we can see that it's starting to send this network traffic, right? It says something about SSL pinning bypass. Forward it, and it happens to be that this is our actual flag in this scenario. But at this point, other applications, when they see Burp Suite being used as the proxy, might actually crash when we submit this flag. So what we're going to do next is actually inject Frida into the injured Android application so that we could actually bypass SSL pinning. We're going to do that manually and automatically. But as you can see in this video, we were actually able to intercept the traffic successfully. But in an application that really implements SSL pinning, you could easily have a crash just as well when you click this submit button. So let's get into those videos and learn how we can bypass SSL pinning and get set up with Frida and objection.